हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्ते, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल। मैं प्रोफेसर दत्तात्रेय घोड़के आप सभी का फिर से एक बार स्वागत करता हूँ आपके चहेते शो में जिसका नाम है रीड विथ मी। चलिए कुछ अच्छा सुनते हैं। Earlier to this episode, we have completed numerous audiobooks, reading of numerous audiobooks which comprises of Ikigai, the Japanese method for long and happy life, then Inner Engineering, a yogi's guide, then how to take back control of your life, then the power of your subconscious mind, then the power of positive thinking, and so on. If you have missed any of the episode of this audiobook, you can find the link of that episode in the description box and you can enjoy the learnings. In today's episode, we are going to read a very special book entitled as Taking Actions, which is written by Brian Tracy. Let us have a look at who the author is. Brian Tracy is a chairman and CEO of Brian Tracy International, a company specializing in the training and development of individuals and organizations. Prior to founding Brian Tracy International, he was the chief operating officer of a $265 million development company. He has conducted high-level consulting assignments with several billion-dollar plus corporations in strategic planning and organizational development. Brian Tracy has started, built, managed, or turned around 22 businesses and consulted for more than 1,000 businesses worldwide. Brian Tracy is the top-selling author of 70 books. I will repeat this. How many books? 70 books that have been translated into 42 languages. He has written and produced more than 500 audio and video learning programs, including the worldwide best-selling Psychology of Achievement, which has been translated into more than 28 languages. Brian speaks on the subjects of personal and professional development to corporate and public audiences, including the executives and staffs of many of America's largest corporations. His exciting talks and seminars on business leadership, selling strategy, and goals bring about immediate changes and long-term results. This is all about who the author is. Now you may be aware that which important things we are going to discuss or we are going to read in this very special book entitled as Taking Action. And already we have decided that through these audiobooks we are going to reach millions and millions of people. Why we are going to reach towards the millions of people? Because we are trying to create a more peaceful, joyful, and loving world. In order to create more peaceful, joyful, and loving world, we must have the clarity and perception about what we want in our lives and the people around us. And in order to achieve this, we have to develop our brain capacity. And in order to develop this brain capacity in this fast moving world, what we have to do, we are trying to help you by providing the audiobooks of different books from the self-help category or the books which are recommended by our viewers. In order to appreciate our efforts, please do subscribe to our channel and help us by sharing these audiobooks with as many people as you can, so that easily in the shortest possible time we will be able to create more peaceful, joyful, and loving world. And this is once again a repetition, but repetition of good things is always better. If you take out the life of any of the successful person in any walk of life, and you can find that in most important habit of that person in a day-to-day life, the reading is the most important and prominent habit of any successful person from any walk of life. That's why we have started this show, and with the help of this show we are giving you more and more insights regarding the self-help category books or the documents which are sent by you towards us for uplifting the society, or in a simple ways in order to create a more peaceful, joyful, and loving world. So let us get ahead with this very special book, Taking Actions, because most of the times we are going to have a look at any of the motivational, inspirational video, we are going to attend any of the seminar, webinar, and after that, attending that webinar, we are fired up and we are charged up. But the intensity with which we are going to start any of the activity and the time for which we are going to maintain that intensity, that is too much short. And in order to enhance, how we can enhance that intensity or the time of that intensity, this you can master by learning the skills or the techniques which are given in this very short book entitled as Taking Actions, which is written by Brian Tracy. So let us get ahead and start reading this book. तो चलिए शुरुआत करते हैं. Taking Action. Tips and techniques to take the first step towards your goal, which is written by Brian Tracy. Taking action. The world seems to belong to those who reach out and grab it with both hands. It belongs to those who do something rather than just wish and hope and plan and pray and intend to do something someday when everything is just right. Rightly said by Brian Tracy, the author of this book. The impact of action. The world seems to belong to those who reach out and grab it with both hands. It belongs to those who do something rather than just wish and hope and plan and pray and intend to do something someday when everything is just right. Successful people are not necessarily those who make the right decisions all the time. No one can do that, no matter how smart he or she is. But once successful people have made a decision, they begin moving toward their objectives step by step, and they begin to get feedback or signals to tell them where they are, of course, and when course corrections are necessary. As they take action and move towards their goals, they continually get new information that enables them to adjust their plans in large and small ways. It is important to understand that life is a series of approximations and course adjustments. Let me explain. When an airplane leaves Chicago from Los Angeles, it is of course 99% of the time. This is normal and natural and to be expected. The pilot makes continual course corrections, a little to the north, a little to the south. The pilot continually adjusts altitude and throttle. And sure enough, several hours later, the plane touches down at exactly the time predicted when it first began airborne upon leaving Chicago. The entire journey has been a process of approximations and course adjustments. What is the big problem? The big problem is that there are no guarantees in a life. Everything you do, even crossing the street, is filled with uncertainty. You can never be completely sure that any action or behavior is going to bring about the desired result. There is always a risk. And where there is a risk, there is fear. And whatever you think about grows in your mind and heart. People who think continually about the risks involved in any undertaking soon become preoccupied with fears and doubts and anxieties that conspire to hold them back from trying in the first place. Launch. At Babson College, in a 12-year study into the reasons for success, researchers concluded that virtually all success was based on what they called the corridor principle. They likened achieving success to proceeding down a corridor in a life. Each of us stands at the entrance of this corridor looking into the darkness, and we see the corridor disappear into the distance. The researchers said that the difference between the success and the failure in their study could be summarized by the one word: launch. Successful people were willing to launch themselves down the corridor of opportunity without any guarantee of what could occur. They were willing to risk uncertainty and overcome the normal fears and doubts that hold the great majority in place. And the remarkable thing is that as you move down the corridor of life, the new doors of opportunity open up on both sides of you. However, you would not have seen those doors if you had not moved down the corridor. They would not have opened up for you if you had waited for some assurance before stepping out in faith and taking action. The Confucian saying, a journey of 1,000 leagues begins with a single step. I need to repeat this. The journey of 1,000 leagues begins with a single step. Simply means that great accomplishments begin with your willingness to face the inevitable certainty of any new enterprise and step out boldly in the direction of your goal. Take a leap of faith. Not long ago, a couple came to me with a problem. He was looking for a company owned by his family in which he was bitterly unhappy. It was full of politics and backbiting and negativity. And he was stressed out and hated his job. He wanted to do something else but had no job offers or potential alternatives to his current position. He asked me for my advice on what to do. I explained to him that there is a vacuum theory of prosperity which says that when you create a vacuum of any kind, nature rushes to fill it. In his case, this meant that as long as he stayed at his current job, there was no way that he could recognize other possibilities, and there was no way that other opportunities could find him. I told him to take a giant leap of faith and just walk away from his current job with no lifeline or safety net. I assured him that if he did, all kinds of things would open up for him that he simply couldn't see while he was locked up in his current situation. He took my advice, he quit his job. The members of his family became very angry and told him that he would be unemployed outside of their business. But he stuck to his guns. He went home, took a few days off, and began to think about his experience and his skills and how they could be best applied to other jobs in other companies. Within 2 weeks, without raising a finger, he had 2 job offers from other companies, both paying sustainably more than he was getting before and both offering all kinds of opportunities that were vastly superior to the job he had walked away from. As soon as the word had gotten out in the marketplace that he was available, other company owners having worked with him and his company in the past were eager to open doors for him. As he moved down the corridor of life, he began to see possibilities that he had been missing completely by limiting himself to where he was. Take chances. If you want to be more successful faster, just do or try more things. Take more action, get busier. Start a little earlier, work a little harder, stay a little later. Put the odds in your favor. According to the law of probability, the more things you try, the more likely it is that you will try the one thing that will make all the difference. I have found that luck is quite predictable. If you want more luck, take more chances, be more active, show up more often. Tom Peters, the best-selling author of In Search of Excellence and other business books, found that a key quality of the top executives in his study was a bias for action. Their motto seemed to be ready, aim, fire. Their attitude towards business was summarized in the words, do it, fix it, try it. They realized that the future belongs to the action-oriented, to the risk-taker. Top people know, as General Douglas MacArthur once said, there is no security in life, only opportunity. And the interesting thing is this, if you seek for opportunity, you will end up with all the security you need. However, if you seek for security, you will end up with neither opportunity nor security. The proof of this is all around us in the downsizing and restructuring of corporations, where thousands of men and women who sought security are finding themselves unemployed for long periods of time. There is a momentum principle of success which is very important to you. It is derived from two physical laws, the law of momentum and law of inertia, and it applies equally well to everything that you accomplish and fail to accomplish. In physics, the law of momentum says that a body in motion tends to remain in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. The law of inertia, on the other hand, says that a body at rest tends to remain at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. In their simplest terms, as they apply to you and your life, those laws says that if you stay in motion towards something that is important to you, it's much easier to continue making progress than it is if you stop somewhere along the way and have to start again. When you look at successful people, you find that they are very much like the plate spinners in the circus. They get things started, they get the plate spinning, they continually keep them spinning, knowing that if a plate falls off or something comes to a halt, it's much harder to get it restarted than it is to keep it going in the first place. Self-discipline. Once you have a goal and a plan, get going, and once you start moving towards your goal, don't stop. Do something every day to move you closer towards your goal. Don't let the size of goal or the amount of time required to accomplish it phase you or hold you back. During your planning process, break down the goal into small tasks and activities that you can engage in every day. You don't have to do a lot, but every day, every week, every month, you should be making progress by completing your predetermined tasks and activities in the direction of your clearly defined objectives. And here is where the rubber meets the road. The most important single quality for success is self-discipline. It's the ability to make yourself do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Let me break down that definition of self-discipline. First, it's the ability to make yourself. This means that you have to use strength and willpower to force yourself into motion, to break the power of inertia that holds you back. Second, do what you should do when you should do it. This means that you make a plan, set a schedule, and then do what you say you will do. You do it when you say you will do it. You keep your promise to yourself and to others. The third part of this definition is whether you feel like it or not. You see, anyone can do anything if he feels like it. If he wants to do it because it makes him happy, if he is well rested and has a lot of time. However, the true test of character is when you do something that you know you must do whether you feel like it or not, especially when you don't like it at all. In fact, you can tell how badly you really want something and what you are really made of as a person by how capable you are of taking action in the direction of your goals and dreams, even when you feel tired and discouraged and disappointed and don't seem to be making any progress. And very often, this is the exact time when you will break through a great achievement. Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote, "When the night is darkest, the stars come out." Your ability to endure, to continue taking action step by step in the direction of your dreams is what will ultimately assure your success. If you keep on keeping on, nothing can stop you. Preparing for the future. Earl Nightingale once said that if a person does not prepare for his success when his opportunity comes, it will only make him look foolish. You have probably heard it said repeatedly that luck is what happens when preparedness meets opportunity. Luck is what happens when preparedness meets opportunity. Only when you have paid the price to be ready for your success are you in a position to take advantage of your opportunities when they arise. And the most remarkable thing is this: the very act of preparation attracts to you like iron filings to a magnet opportunities to use that preparation to advance in your life. You will seldom learn anything of value or prepare yourself in any area without soon having a chance to use your new knowledge and your new skills to move ahead more rapidly. There is a series of things that you can do to become ready for success. All of these activities require self-discipline and a good deal of faith. They require self-discipline because the most normal and natural thing for people to do is to try to get by without preparation. Instead of taking the time and making the effort to be ready for their chance when it comes, they fool around, listen to the radio, watch television, and then they try to wing it and dupe others into thinking that they are more prepared than they are really are. And since we are all transparent, since just because everyone can see through just about everyone else, the unprepared person simply looks incompetent and foolish. Preparation also requires a lot of faith because you have no proof in advance to demonstrate that the preparation will pay off. You simply have to believe deep within yourself that everything you do of a constructive nature will come back to you in some way. You have to know that no good effort is ever wasted. You have to be willing to sow for a long time before you reap, knowing that if you do so in a quality and quantity, the reaping will come about inevitably with the force of a law of nature. Evaluate yourself, look at your work, be honest and objective about your strengths and weaknesses. What are you good at? What are you poor at? What is your major area of weakness? What must you absolutely positively be excellent at in order to move to the top of your field? What one skill do you have that because of its weakness may be holding you back from using all your other skills? Norman Axton, CEO of Martin Corporation, recently said that the most important thing he learned in the last 10 years of business was that your weakest important skill determines the extent to which you can use all of your other talents and abilities. And looking at hundreds of people who worked below him in his corporation, he had found that people's careers were largely determined not only by their strengths but also by their weaknesses. The very act of overcoming a particular weakness through preparation and practice was enough to propel a person into the front ranks in his or her career. In preparing for success, one of the very best questions that you can ask yourself continuously is, what can I and only I do that, if done well, will make a real difference in my career? Usually, there is only one or perhaps two answers to that question. Your ability to honestly appraise yourself and to identify the particular skill area that may be holding you back is critical. Remember when I said that preparation requires both self-discipline and faith. It requires self-discipline because your natural tendency is to do more and more of those things that comes more easily to you and to avoid those areas that you don't enjoy because you are not particularly good at them yet. It requires faith and character for you to admit your weakness in a particular area and then resolve to go to work to develop yourself so those weaknesses don't hold you back. The greatest change that has taken place in our society in the last 20 years is that it became an information-based society. More than 50% of the working population is in the business of processing information in some way. This means that we now have a knowledge-based society and that you are a knowledge worker. You work with your mind, your brain, your mental talents and abilities. You no longer load that bill and tote that hay. You work by thinking, and the more effectively you think and the better prepared you are mentally, the more productive and positive you will be. The golden hour. One thing that has helped me enormously over the years is the habit of getting up early in the morning and spending the first 30 to 60 minutes reading something uplifting. You can read material that is educational or motivational or even inspirational. Many people read spiritual literature. Henry Ward Beecher once said, "The first hour is the rubber of the day." This is often called the golden hour. It's the hour during which you program your mind and set your emotional tone for the rest of the day. If you get up in the morning at least 2 hours before you have to be at work or before your first appointment and spend the first hour investing in your mind, taking in a mental protein rather than a mental candy, reading good books rather than the newspaper or magazines, your whole day will flow more smoothly. You will be more positive and optimistic. You will be calmer, more confident and relaxed. You will have a greater sense of control and well-being by the very act of reading healthy material for the first hour of each day. After just 3 days of reading for 30 to 60 minutes in the morning, you will notice a profound difference. You will begin to develop what Dr. William Glasser called a positive addiction. As a result of your early morning reading, you will feel so good about yourself and your life that you will develop a desire and motivation to get up earlier, even though your tendency in the past was to sleep in a later. Try it and see it. It's a wonderful experience and it can have a profound impact on the rest of your life. Plan and prioritize. In the period of time before work, another thing that highly successful people do is plan and prepare for their entire day. They review all the tasks and responsibilities that they have for the coming hours. They carefully make a list of all their activities and they set clear priorities on the activities. They decide which things are most important to do, which are secondary in importance, and which things should not be done at all unless all the other things are finished. They then discipline themselves to start working on their most important tasks and stay with them during the day until they are complete. Again, the natural tendency of the low performer is to do what is fun and easy before he does what is hard and necessary. Underachievers always like to do little things first. They are drawn to the task that contributes very little to their careers or future possibilities. But high achievers are not like that. High achievers discipline themselves to start at the top of their list and to work on the activities in order of importance without diversion or distraction. If you are in sales, you should spend full 80% of your time prospecting until you are so busy with the presentations and proposals that you have no time left to prospect at all. In fact, whenever you have money problems of any kind, you should look upon them as a signal telling you that you need to reorder your priorities and to prepare more thoroughly to accomplish more of things that contribute the greatest value to your life. Eating right. Another way to prepare for success is to eat right. Energy and dynamism are essential to your success and they are possible only when you are sharp and alert. There are foods that are highly nutritious and that give you high energy and vitality on through the day. Also, there are foods which you eat usually by habit that are hard for your system to digest and that tire you out and make you slow and drowsy in the morning and the afternoon. The cheap culprits in the diets are foods containing fats of any kind. More and more nutritional research suggests that fatty foods, which require the greatest effort on the part of body to break down and digest, are the real enemies of human performance. Fats are becoming closely linked to many illnesses and ailments. One person why people drink so much coffee is to counteract the drowsiness that occurs naturally in the morning because their stomachs are so loaded down with the fatty foods. You see, the process of digestion is the activity of your body that consumes the most energy. When you eat food that are hard to digest, your body rushes blood from everywhere to the digestive system to work to break down them. In this process, the digestive system draws away blood from the brain and the muscles. The reason you feel drowsy after a large meal is because the blood has gone from your brain to your stomach. The reason you get cramps when you engage in vigorous physical exercise immediately after eating is because a substantial amount of blood has been drawn from your muscles to aid in the process of digestion. The key is to eat lightly and healthily. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Eat more whole grain products. In this book, Eat to Win, Robert Haas says that your diet should be comprised of 75% carbohydrates, 15% fats, and only 10% proteins. Since the average diet in America contains as much as 50% fats and proteins, there is ample room to improve. And every move that you make towards a high carbohydrate diet will give you more energy and make you sharper in everything you do. Think and speak positively. In preparing for success through the day, you should also talk to yourself in a positive way. The work by Dr. Martin at the University of Pennsylvania has demonstrated that the way you talk to yourself largely determines your emotions, how you feel about yourself on a minute to minute basis. If you don't deliberately and consciously think about what you want and talk to yourself in a positive way, your mind will tend to slip towards your worries and your concerns. And negative thinking takes the edge off your personality and your enthusiasm, which is so important to your success with the people. A few years ago, Dr. Abraham of Harvard University did an interesting study on disappointment. He found that successful people bounce back from disappointments far faster than unsuccessful people do. And what I have learned is that the key to your keeping yourself positive and optimistic is a preparation in advance of the ups and downs that you will experience each day. For example, if you are in sales, change the way you talk to yourself by viewing yourself as a rejection specialist rather than a sales specialist. If you define yourself as a sales specialist, you will be setting yourself to failure, disappointments, lowered self-esteem with every rejection you get. But on the other hand, if you look upon yourself as a rejection specialist, you will be setting up yourself up to feel like a winner every time someone turns you down for any reason. You can look upon every rejection as a percentage of a sale. If it takes you 20 calls to make a sale, you can look upon a rejection as 5% of the commission that you receive for making that sale. In this way, every person you speak to actually pays you money. You simply collect it when you make the sale. That is inevitable when you speak to enough people. Every time someone turns you down, you are a winner. You are just that much farther ahead. You are just a little bit closer to the sale that must come if you keep on keeping on. Use every setback or disappointment as a spur to greater effort. Decide that nothing will ever get you down. Decide that you will bounce back instead of break. Develop a resilient or hardy personality. Become the kind of person who is always cheerful no matter what happens on the outside. Develop an attitude of gratitude and give thanks for everything that happens to you, knowing that every step forward is a step towards achieving something bigger and better than your current situation. In this way, you become a far more resourceful and effective person. Preparing mentally, you become almost unstoppable. If you are making sales calls, resist the parking lot mentality of the average salesperson. The average salesperson doesn't think about the client until he drives onto the parking lot, and he stops thinking about the client when he drives up. Instead, prepare thoroughly for each call, review your file of notes on the customer, and establish a clear set of call objectives before you go in. Know what you are doing and why. Be very clear on what you want to accomplish with this call. If a person were to ask you how you would judge whether or not this upcoming call was successful, you should be able to tell that person exactly what you want to accomplish, and after the call, you should be able to tell that person exactly what you achieved. Most salespeople never do this. When you ask them if a call was successful, they don't know how to answer you or how to base it. But this is not for you. Be prepared. In everything you do, preparation is the key. If you want to be ready for success, you have to plant the seeds well in advance of the harvest that you expect. Do what the winners do, think on paper, memorize the winner's creed, everything counts. Everything you do is either moving you towards your goal or moving you away. Everything is either helping you or hurting you. Nothing is neutral, everything counts. A successful businessman was once asked to advise by a young person on how he could be more successful faster. The businessman told him that the key to his success had been get good at his job. The young man said, I am already good at what I do. The businessman then said, well, get better. The young man, somewhat self-satisfied, said, well, I am already better than most people. To that, businessman replied, then be the best. Those are the three of the best pieces of advice that I have ever heard. Get good, get better, be the best. Remember, we live in a knowledge-based society, and knowledge in every field is doubling approximately every 7 years. This means that you must double your knowledge in your field every 7 years just to stay even. You are already maxed out at your current levels of knowledge and skills. You have reached the ceiling in your career with your current talents and abilities. If you want to go faster and farther, you must get back to work and begin to prepare yourself for greater heights. You must put aside the newspaper, turn off the television, politely excuse yourself from the aimless socializing, and get back to working on yourself. A quotation by Abraham Lincoln had a great influence on my life when I was 15. It was a statement he made when he was a young lawyer in Springfield, Illinois. He said, I will study and prepare myself, and someday my chance will come. I will study and prepare myself, and someday my chance will come. If you study and prepare yourself, your chance will come as well. There is nothing that you cannot accomplish if you will invest the effort to get yourself ready for the success that you desire. And there is nothing that can stop you but your own lack of preparation. Let me end with this beautiful poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Those heights by great men won and kept were not achieved by sudden flight, but they, while their compassion slept, were toiling upward in the night. Your possibilities are endless, your potential is unlimited, and your future opens up before you when you prepare yourself for the success that must inevitably be yours. Thank you so much all of you for connecting with us in this audiobook reading entitled as Taking Actions, which is written by Brian Tracy. अगर आपको ये बुक अच्छा लगा तो प्लीज़ ये जो वीडियो है या जो ऑडियो बुक है इसे लाइक कर दीजिए. कमेंट में आपको कैसा लगा है या कौन से पॉजिटिव चेंजेस आप करना चाहेंगे, प्लीज मेंशन दैट इन कमेंट बॉक्स. एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली, please don't forget to share this audio book with your loved ones, because what we are trying to do through this show, we are trying to create a more peaceful, joyful and loving world. And in order to achieve this, what we have taken out one simple habit of each and every successful person, that is nothing but a reading. And with that reading, we have started this show, Read With Me, and we are reading few of the self-help category books, or the books which will inspire you to take actions. Okay, so please don't forget to share this video with as many people as you can. Okay, because through this we are trying to reach millions and millions of people. And in order to appreciate our team's efforts, please do subscribe to our channel and press the bell notification so that you will get notified when our next audiobook is about to release. Thank you so much all of you once again for connecting with us. Have a great day ahead. Appreciate our efforts by subscribing to our channel. Thank you.